Hello and welcome. I'm Sara Raymond with the Mindful Movement. Thanks for joining me. Today I prepared a gentle Pilates practice that's all about taking care of your back, strengthening your abdominals in a way that supports your posture in your activities of daily life. But keep in mind that if you have any health concerns or injuries, some of these exercises might not be the best for you. So be sure to listen to your body and take care of yourself in any way that you need. Make modifications or opt out of any exercises that don't feel good to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. Let's get started. Come to lying on your back. You can lay in any way that's comfortable for you. Maybe you bend your knees, or maybe you keep your legs straight out in front of you. Whatever feels good today. And then if it feels right, place your hands on your belly to give you a little bit of feedback. We'll begin with some gentle breathing. So the breathing is both to get your mind centered and in the present, and also to help relax your body. Sometimes when you have back concerns or injuries, you might have gripping or tension just based on compensations. So let's begin with a deep breath in through your nose, fill up your belly, your ribs, your chest, and then breathe out through your mouth like a sigh. And keep going at your own pace, breathing in fully and out. I'm taking a couple more breaths with the intention to fill up fully. And then let go of any gripping or holding that you might be experiencing. Let's take 2 more full deep breaths. And 1 more. And then when you're ready, bringing one knee into your chest and then the other, just giving yourself a little hug, maybe rocking side to side if that feels good. And then we'll keep your hands on your knees to give you some support and try to circle the knees around together. So you're only really going as far as you can keep your hands on your knees. It's not huge. And then when you come around to the top again, go the other direction. Just starting to gently loosen up your back. And then when you come back to the center this time, let's circle the knees apart from one another. So think of mirror image circles, still supporting the weight of your legs with your arms. So your knees come in towards your chest, out to the side, down, around, and in. 1 more in this direction, and then circling the other direction. So now more of a stirring of the thigh in the hip socket. Let's do 1 more there. And then gently lower your feet down and roll onto one side. So you can come up so that your knees are bent about in line with your hip. And then let's take that bottom arm in front and lay the head down if you can. If you need a pillow or something to support your head, you can put that there. And then you'll take your top hand on top of your bottom hand. And then we'll just rotate back. So you feel your top hand drag along the bottom hand as you rotate your shoulders back. And then if it feels comfortable for you, reach your arm back. Take a breath in once you get there. And then exhale, making your way back. So bend your top arm, rotate it across. And then you'll go beyond the bottom arm to rotate more forward towards the floor. And we'll do that again. So exhaling as you rotate, inhaling when you get there, Exhaling to come back. And inhaling to rotate forward. And this next time, we'll rotate back and just hold for a couple breaths in the twist. So you might sense some gripping in the rib cage or the low back or maybe in the shoulders. We'll come back to that deep belly breathing that we started with to try to find a little more ease. And then making your way onto your back gently. And then again, hugging your knees in toward your chest. Just take a moment to group in the center. And then we will roll over onto our other side. And you could just turn around to face you. So as you come onto your side, again, if you need to prop your head up, you can. Otherwise, lay your head down, reach your bottom arm forward, and the top hand stacks on top. So begin with your exhale, rolling back slowly. Hand can go across the chest and end up behind you. Inhale into your twist. Keep in mind it may feel a little different than the other side, and that's okay. And then when you're ready, exhaling to come back. Inhale, rotate forward towards the floor. Exhale, rotate back. Inhale, hold. And exhale, rotating back. Inhale. And exhale. And this time, holding in your twist for a couple breaths. Breathing in fully, expanding your belly. And breathing out to soften into your twist. And again, from there, rolling onto your back. You can hug your knees into your chest. I like to bring the knees in just to recenter after twisting. And then from there, just lower your feet down onto the floor. Find a nice, easy, restful position here. You'll have your knees bent, your feet flat. And then we'll make some circles with our pelvis. So you might take your hands on your hip bones and fingers down toward the pubic bone so you get a sense of where your body is. And then we'll start to rotate the pelvis around in a circle. So if you drop your hips back first, low back lengthening onto the mat, and then tip your hips to one side, and then you get a little arch as your tailbone reaches down, and then tip your hips to the other side. And you can start to flow a little bit more, taking it around in a circle. And you'll notice my knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. So rather than shifting your knees around in a circle, think of just moving the pelvis. I'll lift my arm out of the way so you can see a little bit better. And then when you come back to the center, let's reverse the direction of the circle. Nice way to loosen up the low back, the hips a little bit. And then when you come back to the center point, go ahead and pause there. And then from there, moving into some bridges. Start with your exhale, go back towards your imprinted position, low back pressing into the mat, and then try to peel your spine off of the floor, one bone at a time. And we're looking to come up so that our hips are straight, but we're not so high that our back is arching. So really protecting the back there. Inhaling at the top and then exhaling lower down, one bone at a time, from top to bottom, all the way back to the natural curves of your low back. Try that again, breathing in to prepare. Exhale, tipping the hips back, rolling off the mat like you're peeling Velcro off the floor. Take a breath in at the top and then lowering down, looking for a little more length in your spine, as if your hips could land farther away from your shoulders than when you started. Let's do two more there, breathing in at the bottom and exhale, peeling up. Inhale, find that length, like you're getting traction in your spine, and exhale, lower down. One more repetition, inhale, and exhale, roll up. You might just notice if there are any areas of the spine that feel a little sticky or less flexible. And just see if you maybe can take a little extra time in that area. For me, it's right in this midsection. And all the way down. And then we're going to bridge one more time with a little bit of a shifting side to side of the pelvis once you're in your bridge. So we'll lift the same way, exhaling up. And then think of keeping your hips level to one another and your knees relatively still, and see if you can just shift your pelvis off to the side and then to the other side. I always think of it like a typewriter, although it's not a very relevant current image. You're just shifting side to side. And then come back through the middle and lower just about maybe your upper back to the tips of the shoulder blades down, so you're in a lower height bridge. And we'll do the same lateral shift. And then coming back through the middle, lower down just a little more. Maybe you sense the low ribs coming towards the mat. And we'll just do a couple more side to side shifts. And then center yourself and lower yourself the rest of the way down. One more bridge variation, it will be a rotational pattern. So with your next exhale, lifting your hips one more time. And this time, your hips will become unlevel when they rotate. So try to keep your spine centered between your legs and just rotate one hip down towards the floor and then lift it back up. And then the other hip drops and lifts. And here as well, your knees are still pointed up towards the ceiling. So really trying to just move through the pelvis and the spine. Lifting up to the top of your bridge each time. Let's do one more on each side. And then once you're level, lower yourself down nice and steady, one bone at a time. And then from there, let's bring our knees up into our chest again. And you can either have your knees together for this next exercise or slightly separated if that feels more comfortable for you. So you'll draw your abdominals in, try to lengthen your low back onto the mat gently, and then press your hands into your thighs, and you can resist the pressure. So we're pushing with our hands, but we're not actually moving our legs away from us. So the low abdominals will draw in a little more to resist the pressure. So let's try to coordinate that with our breath a little. So as you exhale, press, engage your abdominals to resist the pressure, and inhale to release. So a couple times like that. And you have control over your resistance, so try not to push so hard that you feel your back arch or feel any discomfort in the low back. Exhaling, press, engaging through the abdominals, and inhale to release. Let's do 2 more breaths. And then just take a little rest there, knees in, maybe rock side to side. And then a slightly more diagonal variation. So you'll cross your hands or your wrists. And now, instead of just pushing forward, think of pushing on the diagonal. So the legs are going, or you're pushing slightly outward on the legs, but you're resisting. So there's not actually any movement. So you'll exhale, press, slight diagonal. Inhale, release. And again, exhale. And inhale. Let's do 2 more there. And inhale one last time. And then again, bring your knees in towards your chest. And then lower your feet, stretch your legs out, long your arms overhead and just take a nice big breath in, lengthening the front of your body. And then bending your knees again. Okay, so let's take one leg into tabletop position. So think knee over the hip, shin is parallel to the ground, and then the other leg comes to meet it. And we're gonna move through our legs without letting our back arch here. So let that be your monitor of how far to go. So with your exhale, lower one foot down towards the floor, and then inhale, bring it back up. And then the other leg. And as I said, we're just going as low as we can without arching our back. So nice and stable, organized through the pelvis. Let's do 2 more on each side, using your exhale to help engage your abdominals gently to support you. And 1 more on each side. And then carefully lowering one foot and then the other. And then bring your hands together behind your head. So you have a nice support for your head and neck. If you bring your elbows just off the floor inside your peripheral, you can draw your shoulders away from your ears. And then with your exhale, nod your chin toward your chest, curl your head and shoulders up, looking down maybe toward your thighs or your belly. And then inhale, lower your head down. And again, like that, exhale, slide the ribs toward the hips, and inhale, lower. Let's do 2 more there. And then on the last one, let's stay lifted. So we're in this nice abdominal curl, our neck is relaxed, and then again, take one leg to tabletop, and then the other. If you feel like your back is already starting to arch, gently lower your low back onto the floor. And then from here, we'll go back to the toe tap. So exhale, lower, and inhale, lift. So 2 more on each side. 1 more, breathing out. And in. And then gently lower your head down, knees in. Deep breath into your belly. And out. Okay, now making your way onto your belly. You can roll yourself over. So just be cautious with range of motion here. We're trying to begin to extend the spine a little bit, but without feeling like there's a lot of pinching or tightness in your low back. So if you need to opt out of this or change the range of motion, just be careful. Okay, so hands will go under the shoulders, so your palms are down, your elbows will be off the mat slightly, and then you can just have your gaze straight down towards the floor. So we'll start to lengthen the neck by drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. You might even think about reaching your elbows back toward your feet. And then as you inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, really just as far as you can without having to push into your hands to lift you up. And then lower down. Do that a couple times. Draw your shoulders, elbows back and down. Inhale back. And exhale back down. A couple more times. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Find more length than height. So maybe even feeling like you're reaching through the top center of your head. And let's do 1 more. And lower back down. And then let's just stack your hands up, rest your forehead or your cheek so that you can take a few deep breaths here. And then moving into swimming. For today, I'm going to teach you through the swimming with the arms by your side. So it's a little less pressure for your neck and shoulders and your upper back. So hands by your hips, palms facing down if you can. Again, eye gaze is going to be straight down, so your neck is long. And then drawing your abdominals up and in for support, lift your legs just to hover, lift your arms, lift your head and chest. And then from there, we'll keep it slow. Lift one arm and opposite leg higher, and then back down. And we switch, and down, and lift, and lower, looking for a steady pelvis and spine as you can. And let's do one more on each side. And then lowering down. Again, you can rest your forehead or your cheek and take a few breaths. And from there, bring your elbows under your shoulders so you're more propped up. And then if this is too high of a back bend for you, you can take your elbows a little wider so you're still working through your shoulders, but your chest is going to be lower down to the ground. Okay, so you choose your position, draw your shoulders down, lift your chest, and think of pulling your breastbone forward and lifting up a little taller. And then keeping the posture, bend one knee, you're going to kick twice towards your butt. Kick, kick, and then straighten your leg and lower down. Let's exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, reach. Exhale, so stable as you can. One more on each side. And then if you can, just let your legs come down to rest, and we'll take a little side bend. So looking over your shoulder towards your feet and back to center. And the other side, inhale and exhale. And then gently lower yourself down and press up to hands and knees, rounding your back up, and just take your time and settle back onto your heels. So at this point, your belly's lifted up, really rounding your back off your thighs to start, and then making your way forward with your hands into child's pose. You can let your head rest, your arms rest if you'd like. Deep breath in and out. And then lifting yourself up into all fours position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then if you're comfortable with it, you can curl your toes under. And just start by finding a neutral spine here. So drawing the shoulders down away from your ears, lengthening the top center of your head forward. Your sit bones are reaching backwards. And then breathing in. And this first breath out in this all fours position, draw your abdominals in like you're narrowing your waistline or tightening a corset around your waist. And then holding that engagement with your next exhale, let's press our hands and feet into the floor. Lift the knees just to hover. And lower. Let's do a few more repetitions of that. Exhale, drawing your abdominals in for support. Lift your knees. And inhale, lower. And again, exhale. And inhale, one more. And lower. And then you can uncurl your toes. Keep your right knee down and just lift your right foot up. So it's like a little kickstand. And then swing your right foot off to the side, turn and look over your right shoulder. And then swing your right foot to your left, turn and look over your left shoulder. So your leg is going side to side, your head is going in the same direction as your foot. Let's do one more in each direction with the right leg. Side bending to the right, and then side bending to the left. Come back to center, head and foot. Lower your right foot, keep your left knee down, lift your left foot. And then side bend to your left. So the foot goes to the side, eyes go to the side. And then left foot to the right, head and shoulders to your right. One more time. And back to center, lower your foot down, and then just a few cat-cows here, pressing into the floor, round your back up. And then inhale and arch, tail up, head up, shoulders down. Exhale, pressing into the floor, rounding. And inhale, lift. One more time each direction. And then coming back through your neutral. And then let's come to seated. So legs out in front of you if you can. If you need to elevate your hips for comfort, if there's gripping or tightening here, or you just can't quite sit up straight, it's going to be useful to elevate your hips. So a blanket, a block, a rolled up mat underneath of your pelvis will be great. Okay, and then legs are going to be about hip bone distance apart, ankles flexed, and then reach your arms forward about the height of your shoulders. Draw your shoulders down, and then imagine that you're up against a wall. So your head, your shoulders, your hips are all up against that imaginary wall behind you. And then with your next exhale, nod your chin toward your chest, round your upper back. Round your mid-back. Think of reaching forward, peeling off that imaginary wall behind you. Take a breath in. And then exhale, drawing your abdominals towards the back of the body. Restack against that imaginary wall. One vertebra at a time from bottom to top. Take a breath in. And breathing out, round forward. From top to bottom, peeling off that imaginary wall. Breathe in. And then exhale, using your abdominals to restack. Like you're squeezing the toothpaste out of a toothpaste tube. We'll do two more. Inhale, exhale, nod the chin, round forward. Breathing in and out. One more time, breathe in and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Releasing the shoulders down the back, and then relaxing your arms here. So continuing to sit like this if you can. Cross your legs if you need to release the hips. And then let's lift our right arm up towards the ceiling. Draw the shoulder down. Try to keep your right hip down, and then side bend to your left. And see if you can focus a little more on the lifting and lengthening through the right side rather than the compressing on the left. And back to center, lift your left arm, inhale, and anchoring through your left hip, side bend. And up. Again, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. One more to each side. Just a nice big lengthening. You might even try to breathe intentionally into that lengthening side. One more on the left. And then relaxing there. And then our last movement is a spine twist. I like to try to move the spine in all the directions that it can go safely. So we'll take the arms out to the side, either palms facing forward, or if you feel like your shoulders or neck are tightening, you can soften your elbows and turn your palms up. So we'll lift our posture up as tall as we can, inhaling, and then exhale, rotate your shoulders to the right, trying to keep the hips anchored. Inhale, center, maybe lifting a little taller through your spine. And then exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Maybe thinking of like a old-fashioned barbershop pole, spiraling upward with the twist. And we'll do one more to each side. And then relaxing your arms. Let's take one more deep breath in together. Breathing in, circle your arms up and out. And that is your Pilates practice for today. Thank you for joining me. Hope to see you in another one.